Going to the 2022 NFL Draft, Kayvon Thibodeaux is viewed as the future #1 overall pick and the best edge rusher in the draft. Thibodeaux has been the top edge rusher for this class since he was in high school, but he may have that title challenged by the time the draft comes around by Michigan defensive end Aidan Hutchinson. But who is Aidan Hutchinson? In the Who Is series, we go through the backstories of up-and-coming collegiate and pro athletes. If there's a player you want to see in future episodes, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. Also, who do you think is the best edge rusher in college football this year? I want to thank Scott Fisher for joining me on this video. After this video, make sure to go check out the video we did over on his channel on JD Spielman. Aidan Hutchinson was born on August 9th, 2000 and is the son of former Michigan captain and defensive tackle/linebacker Chris Hutchinson. Chris played at Michigan from 1989 to 1992, where he would go on to win the team MVP in his final season and is still ranked in the top 20 for career tackles for a loss. Along with his father, his mother and 2 sisters went to Michigan, or are currently going to Michigan as well. When Aidan was in 5th grade, he wrote "I will play football at the University of Michigan" on a torn piece of white paper and taped it to the wall right under his father's framed Rose Bowl jersey from his final game at Michigan in 1993. Every day, Aidan looked up at the piece of paper and used it as motivation. In 7th grade, Aidan started playing football where his father gave him one rule: give effort and have fun. Aidan used his father as a resource throughout his football career, telling the Detroit Free Press we'd sit down and draw on a piece of paper the O-lineman, the circles, and go over the techniques. And we would go over hand placement. We would watch all my film and he would go through and tell me what I did wrong and help me through that stuff. It definitely was a huge benefit to have him as a dad. Aidan would go on to attend Divine Child High School in Plymouth, Michigan. He was a 2-sport athlete who played football and lacrosse. His high school coach talked about when he first saw Aidan, saying, "The first thing that jumped out to me, he was maybe 6 foot, 180 pounds, a skinny kid. But he really played hard. Even as a 9th grader, the kid always played hard. Maybe if you attribute that to his bloodline, he had one speed in practice and games." The coach went on to say, "Aidan would probably be the best player on our team at 8 defensive positions and 8 to 9 offensive positions. He's a hand-in-the-ground defensive end and plays outside the shade of the tackle." Throughout his high school career, Aidan would play defensive end, tight end, offensive tackle, and was his team's long snapper, which we love to see as a former long snapper myself. As a junior, Aidan recorded 68 tackles and 11 sacks, helping his high school finish the year 10-3, winning the Catholic League title. He finished the year being named second-team All-State as well. The following year, Aidan had 419 yards and 8 touchdowns and 38 receptions at the tight end position on offense, while recording 65 tackles, 27 tackles for a loss, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble and a fumble recovery, and a blocked kick. Divine Child finished the year 11-2 and won the Catholic League title once again, making it to the Division III Michigan State semifinals. Aidan was named to the 2017 All-Catholic AA team, selected to the 2017 Detroit Free Press All-State Dream Team, and named to the 2017 M-Live Detroit Dream Team on defense. He also earned himself an invite to the 2018 U.S. Army All-American game, where he recorded 4 tackles, 2.5 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks. Coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Aidan Hutchinson was a 4-star recruit who was the best player in Michigan, 6th best strong side defensive end, and 112th best player in his class. He received over 13 different Division I offers from the likes of LSU, Michigan, Michigan State, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. His first taste of the recruiting process came during Central Michigan's junior day. Back in December of 2017, Aidan wrote about his life in the Detroit Free Press. In his article, he wrote, "I was a tiny fish in a small pond, and I felt like just another face in a crowd of over 100 kids. I could see players getting special attention, and I was not one of them. Not to be discouraged, I attended several camps. The reviews were mixed, at best, and one prominent evaluator said I underwhelmed him. I could see how blunt the recruiting process was, and knew I had to be mentally strong and focused. Michigan defensive line coach Greg Madison was the only one who saw my potential early on. He knew me when I was skinny and gangly, and never wavered in his belief in my ability. He taught me to long snap as a freshman." Aidan continued to attend more camps, just wanting to gain experience and get more exposure, and interest began to pick up. He received his first Division I offer from LSU, which blew his mind, and a few days later he earned his dream offer from Michigan. Aidan wrote in his piece, "Other offers started rolling in from Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Boston College. Most schools figured I was a shoo-in for Michigan. While Michigan was my top choice, I promised myself I would give every school that recruited me a fair shot. And so unofficial visits began. I visited Michigan several times. I also visited Ohio State, Michigan State, and Wisconsin that year. I liked Wisconsin's program, although I was unsure how my skill set and body type would fit in their defensive scheme. Ohio State rolled out the red carpet, but something just didn't feel right. Michigan State had a surprisingly genuine appeal, but I couldn't visualize myself there. It was amazing to see my parents, both Michigan grads, open to exploring every program with me. When he returned from his Notre Dame visit, he questioned what he was doing, writing, "The recruiting process can take your ego in many different places. Being grounded is part of who I am. Was I on a mission to see how many offers I could get? Why am I still searching for a school greater than Michigan? I realized I was comparing the other schools to Michigan. They all came up short for me in one area or another. When you have one of the best universities in sports and academics in your backyard, it's easy to lose perspective, and it's only natural to wonder if others would be even greater." So on February 23rd, he committed to the Wolverines and signed with them on signing day. If you're interested in reading Aidan's full piece, I have linked it in the description below. Now, to talk about Aidan's collegiate career, I would like to welcome Scott Fisher.
Thanks for having me on the channel, Jonathan. And with the rise of Michigan football, we have seen the rise of two NFL draft prospects. One is running back Blake Corum, and the other is a defensive end. According to some mock drafts, he could go as high as number 2 overall, and the sky is honestly the limit for him. Yes, we're talking about Aidan Hutchinson, as you obviously know. Let's go back a little bit and talk about his entire college football career. Hutchinson arrived at Michigan in 2018, and as Jonathan said, he was pretty highly recruited. In 2018, he had a pretty solid role as a backup, as he finished the year with 12 total tackles. As we all know, Michigan had a pretty good season, but the revenge tour fell short. In 2019, he became a star. Hutchinson finished with 68 tackles and 4.5 sacks. Not only that, but he also forced 2 fumbles. But sadly, it didn't lead to a ton of Michigan success. The team ended up going 9-4, which is definitely respectable for 95% of schools, but for Michigan, it was a down year, and that was difficult for them. In 2020, he was once again lined up alongside Kwity Paye, who, in case you didn't know, ended up becoming a first-round pick to the Indianapolis Colts. Those two combined for a great season, but Hutchinson would be limited to only 3 games. His season was cut short due to injury, but he still registered 15 tackles with 2 quarterback hurries. The hype was obviously there for Hutchinson as he had a great sophomore year, but going into his senior year, he was a little bit under the radar. Hutchinson has come out on a mission in 2021. He is now the guy on the defensive line, and Michigan football is undefeated. In their first game against Western Michigan, he finished with 4 tackles and a sack and helped them beat the Broncos in convincing fashion. In week 2, under the lights against Washington, he had his best career game. He finished with 4 tackles and he sacked quarterback Dylan Morris 2.5 times. This game really put him on the radar, and now defenses were going to have to scheme around him. He came back and helped them beat Northern Illinois, and then finished with 5 tackles and a close win over Rutgers. Right now, Michigan was 4-0, going into a huge road matchup with Wisconsin. Hutchinson was a factor in that game, as they went to Camp Randall and won 38-17 against the Badgers. His 6 tackles helped them beat Nebraska on the road, and most recently against Northwestern, they won 33-7. This weekend is absolutely huge. Hutchinson and the Wolverines will travel to East Lansing as they will play against the undefeated Michigan State Spartans. This game is super hyped up, and personally I am so excited to watch it, and Hutchinson has a chance to put his name in the minds of people even more. As I said earlier, Mel Kiper had him as high as number 2 in this year's draft, and I think most people believe he will be a top 10 pick come April. Hutchinson has had a great 4-year career, and he is still leaving his mark. In total at Michigan so far, he's had over 120 tackles, 65 solo tackles, and 9.5 sacks. He's also poked the ball out 3 times, he's been an academic All-American, and after this year, he could be a first-team All-American. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do at the next level, and I really love his story, and I appreciate you having me onto the channel today, Jonathan. Before we turn it back over to him, be sure to smash that like button to help this video with the algorithm, subscribe to Jonathan's channel, and let him know another player he could take a look at next. I'll see you guys again next time.
So as Scott mentioned, Aidan Hutchinson is climbing up draft boards, and he is expected to test extremely well. Back in my Athletic Freak video, I talked about Hutchinson saying at 6'6", 265 pounds, Hutchinson has a 36-inch vertical, 4'6", 40, and a 4.07 shuttle time. He impressed his strength coach with a 2.57 reactive plyo stairs, which is crazy to do at his size. According to The Athletic, he's the first athlete veteran strength coach Ben Herbert has witnessed do the Turkish get-up with 135 pounds and no collars to lock the plates on in 24 years working in college weight rooms. Any mistakes or hints of imbalance in keeping the bar perfectly level, and the weights would have slid right off. One source told The Athletic he's going to test well when he goes to the combine. He's a huge chip on his shoulder and can be right where Quiddy was in those agility numbers. Running low 4.6s with a mid-30s vert, but he's over 6'6", and he's going to bench 225 in the 30s. But what do you think? Where will Aidan Hutchinson be drafted in the 2022 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos right here. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.